If you're familiar with DKA, or diabetic ketoacidosis, or maybe you're more familiar with insulin to carb ratios, basal rates, insulin in general, today's episode is going to sound very familiar, but also introduce some things that just might blow your mind. And I say that because they blew my mind. I actually had a chance to sit down with one of my current clients, Kelli, who shared a bit of her story with DKA, but also how she managed to wrangle her blood sugars, get them to stabilize. One of the key components, of course, was taking the correct amount of insulin, which her doctor had messed up for years. And this is something that actually might be causing your blood sugars to be more difficult than they need to be as well. Now, in today's episode, we share the ins and outs of what worked for Kelli, what might work for you as well if you pay close attention. But we also had a chance to talk about the psychological impact of diabetes health as well. Fear of low blood sugars, a frustration with highs, and how diabetes management is an all-encompassing piece of our lives. It's not just blood sugar numbers, it's also lifestyle habits, psychological benefits and cons, and lots more that you'll get out of today's episode if you stick around until the end. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Van de Vecht. I'm a certified master fitness trainer and nutritionist, and I work with people like Kelli and maybe like you to help them get their blood sugars so dialed in, so precise that you get more freedom and flexibility in life. And in today's episode, I had the chance to sit down with Kelli and discuss exactly that. So I hope you enjoy. Sit back, relax. We'll get to our theme song, and I hope you enjoy the show. No, happy to have you here today. I'm so excited we get to share your story and really just expand on what your journeys look like even in the last few weeks. But you mentioned a little bit about this, and I'd love for everyone watching this to know if you give us kind of some backstory on maybe how long you've had diabetes. Are you using a pump or injections, and what's that look like?
So I was diagnosed in 2017, and I'm older. And so interestingly enough, when I got diagnosed, then my mother said, "Oh yes, your grandmother had it, her sister had it, her brother had it." And so I did not know my whole entire life. So 7 years ago was a huge eye opener for me. The reason why I got diagnosed is because I did not know it, but my mother said, "Whose clothes are you wearing?" And I had lost 40 pounds and my clothes were so big.
Whoa.
And I apparently was in DKA and didn't know it, didn't realize how dangerous that is. Till now, I understand what a dangerous situation that was. But right. And my endocrinologist said to me, "You're really, really sick. It's going to take you a really long time to get well. Shoot, 50 of this and 25 of this, and I'll see you later." And she also told me too, "You can eat anything you want. Don't worry about it. Just shoot insulin." I didn't feel like she was right. You could eat anything you want, just shoot insulin. And I didn't feel like that's the way I wanted to manage my diabetes, but I didn't know how to. And so honestly, I have just learned in 7 years, I've just learned how to start treating my diabetes properly. So when I was diagnosed, I was well over 300 as an average blood sugar, and my A1C was 18.4. I did not understand that the A1C is a Richter scale. So when you go from 5 to 6, or even from 5 to 7, it's like the Richter scale, the multiplication of it. So at 18, I was sick.
Yeah.
Currently, when I started the program, I had just done my labs like the week before. So I have really accurate starting numbers. Yeah. And so currently, I'm at a 10.4 A1C with an average glucose of 256. I'd never heard of time in range until I met you. So I don't, the first couple of weeks in the basal testing, because my basal was so high, I was going so low at night. And so my time in range was really good during the basal testing. But now I am focused on all three. I want to lower the A1C, but I do want to have time in range be more, a bigger part of my life. And I'm working on that.
Well, and I know you mentioned a little bit about your starting stats, right, with the A1C, because you just got that measured a couple of weeks ago before working with us. What were maybe some of the main struggles that you had before working with us and maybe influenced your decision to start something new like this?
Roller coaster blood sugars and high blood sugars. I realize that, my blood is like syrup. I'm starting to I think I'm starting with neuropathy. I had kind of some symptoms of neuropathy, and I just thought I've got to get focused on my disease and taking proper care of myself. So, I don't want to be a burden to my family, and I want to feel better every day. So I was just happy. I mean, I'm just happy to have found this and have learned so much in such a short time.
Well, and on that note, what maybe was the first hint to you that this was working? Like when you started going through our lessons and we started having these coaching calls, what was that moment for you where it was like, oh, this is actually going to work. This is doing something.
Realizing the basal rates were so high and how that was then affecting the bolus, which is why my sugar was always so high. It was the total wrong approach. So once I started the basal testing, I didn't know that diabetics could fast. I didn't know that I thought we had to eat constantly, or every couple hours. So that was a big thing to me, to see that I could fast and that I could stay steady, because for the first time in my life, my basal ratio was getting closer to being accurate. And Matt, that was within 2 weeks. And it's like, I'm so excited about this program. Look, in 2 weeks. And that's what my family around me will say. They've noticed too. In such a short time, big differences.
And what has your family noticed?
I talk about it a lot more. And so now they are tracking with me. And I didn't realize that I didn't really talk about it before, but that's another thing, that being a renegade warrior and a new mindset. I've got people now who understand what I'm saying.
So true.
I mean, in big ways and little ways. Yeah. My family did not understand why the lows scared me. They're like, just eat some sugar. What is the problem? And I'm like, because some people don't ever go up. Some people start it down in a low and they don't ever go back up. And so it's always a thought of mine. I had a nurse say that to me right when I was diagnosed. Oh, my husband died from diabetes. And I said, just long-term, just overall long-term, just deterioration of his body. And she said, nope, he just ate and the food would make his sugar go up and he died. And so I've got that in the back of my mind now. And it's always in the back of my mind when I'm going low. Oh my gosh, is this the time that all of a sudden sugar isn't going to work for me? And so, but that's another thing too, your reality of lows and the diabetic, all of a warrior, we're all scared of them. We all have the same feelings. And so being with a group of people who truly understand how I feel is great, but it's helped me to express to my family. And so my husband is not hooked to my CGM yet, like your wife. I didn't know you could share your data with other people other than your doctor. But all of my mom, my brother, and my husband, and my daughter, and son, they just ask me now about it. And even like if we're sitting for dinner now, I'll wait to, they're all starting to eat and I'm waiting, because I don't pre-bolus till the food's in front of my face, because I've learned that lesson the hard way. Yeah. And so I love that. My family's more involved too. It's really been beneficial to me.
Well, and aside from your family being in that supportive role with you, what was it like before the program when you were struggling to get these things figured out? What did that feel like for you?
Scary, depressing. I can tell you that I didn't really deny myself the food. And so my family would just see me have the, birthday cake, and my family would just see me living, a normal life, the same life as them. They just didn't know that inside my sugar was, raging at 400, that my feet were pinprickling and that, I didn't feel good. And so now they've just noticed, and they too are looking for different foods, to bring into the household. They're eating a little bit healthier too.
Oh, wow. So you taking care of yourself is helping them take care of themselves, subconsciously maybe.
Yes.
Like, all right, we'll be healthy too. That's
amazing. I heard my brother say to my mom the other day, we all need to eat like Kelli.
Wow.
And that's a huge compliment, because they see that I'm trying to make an effort. How I'm combining foods. That was another really good lesson for me. Gosh, have a bagel, but put some cream cheese on it. you know, have your date, but put some peanut butter on it. I love that. That is my new favorite dessert.
Delicious, right? Oh man.
I don't even need the chocolate. The peanut butter and the dates are good enough for me. So that's another thing, you know, the snacks and just different food pairings and different things that people eat. That's been really helpful to me in the group as well.
Well, I think that's one of the powerful things you mentioned with your family and how they want to eat healthier like you. And I think that a lot of times, at least for me, when I first started on my journey like this, like what you're at right now, I felt almost like selfish or guilty for taking care of myself. I feel like I should just get by, you know, and like not create any waves. But in taking care of myself, I saw the same thing. People were able to see the benefits in my life and want to benefit their own lives and like make healthier choices. But also the more that I helped myself, the more I was able to help others, like be more present and help people and help with dinner, you know, all this kind of stuff. So excited.
Bring a different dish, you know, bring a different dish to the potluck. You know, I don't bring potato salad anymore. You know, now I bring, you know, cowboy salsa because it's got black beans and it's, you know, cilantro and tomatoes. And so just small differences, you know.
I love that. Well, and this is totally off topic, but I'm curious, what made you decide to work with some stranger on the internet that you saw? Like, what was the thought process there?
Honestly, at first, because there is so much information. There's so much information that you put out that is helpful. And so I didn't realize that. I was just watching your Instagram feed and you just, you know, don't be alone. And then also you're anal. Like you showed us your journal the other day when you first started writing all down your data points, and you are obsessive and good is not good enough. I mean, you're type A. And so I'm immediately just attracted to your idea of how this should go. And so I watched a few things. I watched a couple of your videos on YouTube. And then I need to know more. I want to know more. I want a diabetic coach. I want a community. And just in that schedule, that first call, and really it was the first call with you because I had a call with your team, but then it was that first discussion with you. Within 5 minutes, I knew I'm doing this. This is going to be a blessing to me.
Well, I mean, I've seen it in you, this transformation that you've kickstarted, right? Like you're already getting basals dialed in and boys like having these light bulb moments I see on the coaching calls and everything. What is it like now that there is hope and you're seeing progress? Like, what's that like for you?
You know, I can manage this. I'm empowered. Other people have done it and been successful. And so that was big to me. It is manageable. I don't just have to survive, can thrive with this disease. And then honestly, it has been interpreting the data points. That has been the biggest bit of knowledge for me because there are so many variables. And so that's what I would do. Oh, my sugar's going high. I'm going to go out and swim. Oh, wait, I'll take a bolus before I do. Oh, wait a minute. You know, now I'm out in the sun. Now it's pretty hot. I mean, just all the things, all the different variables. And I didn't know how to track them. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know how to sort through them. And so that's the biggest thing too in this program is being able to isolate so that you can establish a pattern so that you can predict. And so that is the path. And being able to just go through those data points and just start to interpret the data. That's been extremely helpful to me.
And I mean, obviously, what you're talking about here is more peace of mind and quality of life oriented. So it's hard to track metrics of progress, right? Other than like, I feel better, my family sees it, this sort of stuff, peace of mind, because the physical metrics are to follow. You know, the A1C, we're only, 2-3 weeks in, and you're already seeing the quality of life aspect, but the A1C being a 3-month average, we're not going to see that for at least another month or two, right? But being able to be aware that progress is not linear and it also goes into different areas of life, like how you feel and you're energized. I can see you're beaming.
Yes.
You're full of hope, right?
Yes.
It's just such a different way to track progress, but I love that you're experiencing it.
Well, and so that, you know, there are the things that you can see. And then there are the things that you can't see. That's another thing that you taught me, though, is I had never read the label on my insulin. They just told me, take this once a day and take this when you eat. And so I'd really never read that. And it was the chart was that beginning framework, and here are the different types of insulins, and here's how they work. And I thought, it's been 7 years. I think I'll read my insulin pamphlet. And I mean, you had already told me, I mean, it's not like I didn't really gain a whole bunch of information out of reading it, but just with your material, the different information that you provide, it's worth reading and looking into closely and gaining, that information. So I'm more plugged into my disease than I ever have been, and I'm happier about it.
I love that. Yeah, it's not like it's obsessive and hurting you. It's information that's helping you, right? It's being able to interpret it, like you said, interpreting the data. That's critical.
Isolating variables. I think that's important too. Isolating variables. Another thing that I did too is I jumped ahead. I know you say don't want people to do that. I just jumped ahead briefly because I wanted to get the macro portion.
Yeah.
You know how they tell you 40 carbs, don't ever eat more than 40 carbs per meal, no more than 120 per day. That was my, right. That was, what my doctor told me. So I realized in the beginning through the basal testing that I eat a high fat diet, and it's because I'm carb adverse. And so that helped me a lot too. I shared with you at one point, I think I was 3 weeks in, I actually ate 52 grams of carbs at a sitting. And that was big for me. But now I see that my diet was so high in fat. That's not healthy. And so I did look ahead a little bit. I wanted to get an understanding of the macros. I wanted to get a better diet so that the program I established for myself is realistic to how I want to eat. So, I can't tell you in 4 weeks how much I've learned and how much further I am along with my disease.
That's amazing. I know I was going to mention, like, we're only a couple weeks in. Imagine how much further we're going to take this. Like, I'm excited because I know what's next and how we're going to like actually get it set up into your blood sugar formulas, right? But even just the little golden nuggets you picked up, clearly you've run with them and you've implemented, which I wanted to say I'm proud of you for doing that. I can teach you all the stuff in the world, but if you don't do anything with it, it doesn't matter. So I just want to say proud of you for taking immediate, imperfect action and just running with it. It's done a great job. I was going to ask you too, what are some golden nuggets that stood out that you think might be helpful for anybody watching this?
Join, get with a group. I also love the different phases of being a renegade warrior. Because when I met you, I kind of was just in stage 1. I have a disease and it's a bummer and I'll die with it someday. But to just see the different stages, I love, get your detective cap on, figure this out, so instead of just going, oh gosh, my sugar was high over the whole weekend, bummer, and moving on, to look back and say, what was happening this weekend, and try to determine what those variables are that are affecting your blood sugar. And so I'd say that's the biggest thing, is paying attention and then looking back so that you can then make predictions going forward. And that's really, I might spend a little bit too much time. I'm not racing through these lessons. I think there are 8 lessons. I am not getting through the program in 8 weeks. I don't want to rush because there's so much to be gained in each section. And so I have not rushed through. I've taken my time and I'm only in week 4. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm 4 years, Matt, and I can't move on.
Right.
I'm still new to the program, but yesterday because my basal or my bolus is pretty close. Yesterday I've got the aerobic lesson down, right. And I did my first 26-minute rebound session while I listened to some diabetes in action videos on YouTube.
All right. I love that.
I couldn't believe I was on 26 minutes. I thought I couldn't do 2, but I just put the video on, and before I knew it, it was a 26-minute video. We were done learning, and I'd been, rebounding that whole time. So probably the biggest thing, Matt, is getting the ratios for my insulin and learning how to interpret data points, isolate them, so we can deal with it properly going forward.
Well, and I love you mentioned the 7 stages, right? How you're stage 1, getting things started. And for anybody who's watching, like, what are the stages? I'm confused. So we labeled out the 7 stages of a diabetic's journey, right, from 0 to hero, essentially, and laid it all out for our clients. So, Kelly, I don't know if you saw that on YouTube, but there's a video we have, and it's like kind of blurred out, so it's not the same thing that you saw now as a client, but you see that there are 7 stages. Did you ever see that video?
I did not.
Oh.
I just have the playbook.
Right. The playbook obviously lays it all out as 100.
So I see it in my playbook.
Detailed
right.
instructions. Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, for anybody who is watching, there's a video online you can go find that goes over the 7 stages of our type 1 diabetes journey and kind of, I don't know, where you're at, what your next steps are to make progress with diabetes. There's a video you can get, it's totally free, at diabetesinaction.com, which is actually the introduction for this program that Kelly's in. But I would go check that out. It lays out blood sugar formulas and the basis of what Kelly's been talking about this whole time. But Kelly, was there anything else that I missed that you were hoping to share about today?
I'm thankful because I realize now that 33% reduction is big. I realize now how big that is and how that has been putting my body just out of whack for 7 years. And so I'm grateful to just not be taking medication that I don't need to be taking and shouldn't be taking anyway. And so I love the fact that that the program is all encompassing. You get the coach, but you get the support, you get the knowledge. We share, recipes with each other. It takes into account your diet, your exercise, just step by step. I love the deep dives. I had asked a question one day in class and was directed to a deep dive that I really was interested in. And so I'm just grateful that, you provide the complete picture and that you just don't give us, maybe start here like our endos do. Take this medicine and see how it goes.
Right.
It's just so much better direction, so much more direction.
I love hearing that. I'm so happy that you found us because you're right. Taking that much extra insulin, oh my gosh, it's no wonder it's been so difficult, right? But you mentioned something interesting in the beginning, which was you didn't know. And I think so many people just don't know what they don't know, right? They think they know it, and then they learn something new and they're like, oh my gosh, that was the missing puzzle piece. That's why it's been so hard.
Yes.
So I love that you were open to learning new things. I think that's the critical piece that was necessary. You were curious and looking for those missing pieces. So again, proud of you, all the work that you've put in. We've still got a lot of fun pieces ahead of us to get in place, and I'm excited for that. But I want to say thank you for your time today. I know a lot of people are going to find hope and inspiration from your story. And thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Keep up the fight.
Yeah. Well, that was my next phrase. You got to write it out. So I'll let you end on that. And everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Do check out the free training, diabetesinaction.com. It'll give you the foundations of what Kelly and I are working on for her and see if it's something that can help you out. So diabetesinaction.com. Thanks again, Kelly. And to everybody else, as Kelly had said, keep up the fight.
Yes.
See you guys.
Thank you.